The first sound is not danger, but laughter, if such a thing exists in the language of animals. It is the squeak and snort of a baby rhino, a sound so pure it echoes across the grasslands like a secret joke told to the rising sun. Its small feet slap against the muddy edge of a watering hole, sending rings of ripples racing outward. Each circle disturbs the mirror of morning light, shattering the still reflection of sky and acacia trees. The calf dips its snout into the cool water, then jerks it upward, spraying droplets that catch the golden light as if the little creature has just discovered how to make rain. For the calf, the world is still a playground, a place without sharp edges. But for its mother, grazing a few strides away, every breath is measured. Her massive horn glints pale in the dawn, and her ears twitch at sounds too distant for the calf to notice. She lowers her head to feed, but her eyes never leave her young. Every movement of her body carries a silent message. You are free, but not alone. The savanna itself seems to bow to the newborn's presence. Long grasses sway in a slow rhythm, each stalk tipped with beads of dew that shine like stars fallen to earth. Above, acacia trees stretch their crooked limbs, black against the rising light, guardians carved by centuries of wind and drought. In their shadows, life stirs, antelope lifting slender heads, starlings chattering in nervous bursts, and at the very edge of the forest, a family of gorillas sitting like statues. Their dark shapes melt into the undergrowth, quiet observers of a world not their own. The silverback's deep chest rises and falls, his watchful eyes following the playful rhino calf with a strange stillness, as though he senses a story about to unfold. The air carries a sweetness only morning knows. Damp earth, crushed grass, the faint musk of great animals moving together. The mother rhino breathes it in with a low rumble, a sound that travels into the soil itself. The calf answers with a high squeak, its small voice sharp and thin but full of joy. Their exchange is invisible to most ears, but in the language of giants it is a promise. I am here. You are safe. Yet the savanna has never been only a place of safety. Beneath the beauty lies a tension older than memory. Even now, the balance trembles. A silence threads through the chorus of life, the brief gap between bird calls. The hush of insects as though the ground itself has chosen to hold its breath to eye in the tall grass. Unseen by the calf, two lionesses move like smoke. Their bodies ripple with golden muscle, each step sinking softly into dust. Their eyes, pale fire, lock onto the calf's clumsy movements. They do not rush. They do not need to. Time belongs to predators who know patience. The calf is young, still learning its legs, still testing the edge of freedom. The lionesses wait for that edge to widen into a mistake. The mother rhino senses it, though she does not yet see. Her body shifts with a sudden stiffness. She raises her head, ears spread wide, nostrils flaring. Dust clings to her skin where the calf's splashes have settled. She does not charge, does not cry out, but she knows. Her breath grows louder, the warning drum of a heart that understands danger is close. The calf, oblivious, chases its own shadow in the water. It pushes forward, splashing deeper, sending waves across the pool. For a moment, it looks like joy carved into flesh and bone, its little tail flicking, its stubby horn barely breaking the surface. It is innocence in its truest form, unprepared for the storm hiding in the grass. The herd of gorillas stirs at the forest's edge. The silverback shifts, his massive hands pressing into the dirt. Around him, females gather their young closer. They are not threatened, not directly, yet their instincts do not lie. The air carries a weight. Something is breaking beneath the calm, though it has not yet shown its teeth. That a flock of starlings bursts from the trees, their wings flashing silver as they twist into the sky. Their cries slice the air, high and urgent. The calf freezes at the sound, startled, then squeaks again, not in fear but confusion. It looks back toward its mother, who has already stepped closer, her shadow stretching across the water to wrap the calf in its shape. She lowers her horn, brushing the calf gently with the side of her face. The touch is brief but powerful, a reminder written not in words but in contact. Stay near me. The calf, reassured, presses its small body against her leg, then pulls away again to splash. It is too young to understand that safety can vanish in a breath. The lionesses sink lower into the grass, their bellies brushing the earth. Dust clings to their fur, their tails twitch in perfect rhythm. They are close now, so close they can feel the vibrations of each rhino step through the soil. Muscles tighten, eyes narrow. The hunt is measured not in minutes, but in heartbeats. The savanna grows quieter still. The birds fall silent again. Even the breeze seems to pause. It is the silence before storms, before claws, before the earth remembers its oldest rule. Survival belongs to the sharp, the strong, the patient. The mother rhino lifts her head sharply, ears flaring wide. She does not move yet, but her eyes cut across the grass. Her calf splashes once more, unaware, droplets catching sunlight as if they were sparks of life itself. The gorillas remain still at the tree-line, eyes unblinking. Their presence like an ancient jury waiting for the first strike. The camera of the savanna lingers here, on the baby's joy, the mother's watchful stance, the hidden predators poised to break the world apart. Peace is still here, but it trembles, fragile as a dewdrop on a blade of grass. The sun climbs higher, painting the plain with light, but shadows move where they should not. And in that space between laughter and silence, between innocence and threat, the savanna whispers its eternal question. How long can love protect the fragile before danger demands its due? The grass shifts. A paw lifts. The storm waits no longer. The air split with a scream. Not a human sound, but the shrill, cracking cry of a baby rhino fighting for its life. One moment the savanna was still, and the next, it exploded. Out of the tall grass came lions. Yellow streaks of muscle, claws tearing the earth, eyes fixed with a hunter's fire. They moved like a storm, sudden and unstoppable, and their target was small, weak, and only half aware of what danger meant. The calf stumbled, legs splaying as a lioness hit from the side. The ground shook beneath the weight of predator and prey colliding. Dust rose, turning the air thick and choking. The baby squealed, a sound that tore across the plains, sharp enough to slice through the morning calm. For an instant, the calf's tiny chest was pressed flat under the lioness's body, her claws curling like hooks into his flank. The mother rhino was already moving. She didn't think, didn't plan, she only charged. Her horn cut through the haze of dust, her breath pouring out like steam from a furnace. She slammed forward with all her strength, a ton of muscle driven by something far heavier, the will to protect her child. But the lions were not reckless. Another female had circled wide, her tail flicking, her body low. She darted across the mother's path, snarling, snapping, forcing the rhino to swing her horn and chase shadows. The trick worked. Every second the mother was held away was a second the calf lay pinned beneath killing claws. The baby cried again, thrashing weakly, his small body no match for the lioness's crushing weight. Her jaws lowered toward his throat. From the edge of the forest, something stirred. The gorilla had been watching. Until now, he was only a shadow among trees, a silent figure sitting with his troop. But when the cry of the calf rose again, piercing, desperate, something changed. The silverback pushed himself upright, his massive chest rising and falling. His dark eyes burned as he looked out across the golden grass, across the chaos. Straight to where the helpless baby struggled, he didn't hesitate. The silverback crashed forward, breaking from the tree-line in a thunder of movement. His chest pounded with a rhythm older than words, fists slamming the earth, each strike like a drumbeat of rage. He roared, not in hunger, not in dominance, but in fury, a sound that rolled across the savanna like rolling thunder. The lions froze. For a heartbeat, the world stopped. Then the gorilla charged. He was a wall of muscle and hair, faster than his size should allow, every stride sending clumps of earth flying. The lioness pinning the calf twisted her head, startled by this new enemy. Her ears flattened as the gorilla's roar tore into her, his arms raised high. He slammed down onto the earth, so close the ground quivered. The shock was enough. The lioness leapt back, dust swirling where her claws had been. The calf gasped free, struggling to its feet, trembling, its eyes wide with terror, but the battle wasn't over. The second lioness lunged toward the gorilla, her teeth bared. The silverback spun, his arms wide, his teeth flashing. He roared again, chest surging, and smacked the ground with a force that echoed. The lioness faltered, uncertain, not used to prey that did not flee. In that swirling chaos, the mother rhino broke free. With a scream like rolling thunder, she barreled forward. Her horn caught the air just inches from the lioness's ribs, close enough to slice dust from her belly. The predator twisted away at the last second, her tail lashing, retreating into the tall grass. The calf stumbled to his mother's side, pressing against her thick leg, shivering. He was scraped, bruised, but alive. His small cries now sounded softer, weaker, but no less desperate. The mother lowered her massive head, touching him gently with her horn. She breathed over him, her sides heaving, her eyes still wild with fear and fury. The lions circled again at a distance, tails twitching. Their yellow eyes burned in the dust. Hunger still pulled them forward, but confusion held them back. This was no ordinary hunt. The prey had become an army, bound not by species but by something greater. Instinct, protection, defiance. The silverback stood between them, his arms spread wide, his back straight as stone. His chest rose and fell like a drumbeat. His dark eyes never left the lions, and in that gaze was a warning older than words. Come closer and face me. For long moments, predator and protector stared at one another. The lions shifted their paws, uneasy, torn between hunger and the strange, terrifying presence of a creature they had never been forced to fight. The gorilla's roar came again, ripping the silence, a sound so raw it sent birds scattering from the acacias. The lions broke. One by one, they melted back into the grass, their golden coats vanishing into the wavering heat of the plain. Their tails flicked once more, then they were gone, only shadows in the savanna. Silence fell, broken only by the heavy breaths of those who had survived. The calf leaned against his mother, trembling, his sides streaked with dust and blood, but rising with life. The rhino mother stood guard, her body a shield, her horn lowered toward the horizon. And a few feet away, the gorilla still loomed, his chest slowing, his arms finally falling to his sides. He did not move closer. He did not need thanks. He only stood there, breathing, watching, his massive body between the calf and the grass that still whispered with danger. His troop waited in the shadows of the forest, their dark shapes still, their eyes reflecting the fire of the morning sun. Slowly, the silverback turned back toward them. His role was finished. Without a word, without a gesture, he began to walk away, his broad back catching the light, his figure fading into the green edge of the trees. The mother rhino pressed her head down once more to her calf, nuzzling him gently, her rough breath mixing with his small shivers. The dust settled around them. The cries of birds slowly returned, filling the air with hesitant song. And as the savanna steadied, one truth lingered like the warmth of the sun. Sometimes survival does not follow the laws of nature. Sometimes it follows the laws of the heart. Chapter 3. The ground trembled beneath the silverback's fists. Each strike sent shivers through the dust, a warning carried in the bones of the savanna itself. His roar followed, deep and rolling, shaking the silence that had hung only moments ago. For the lions, the sound was more than noise. It was defiance, a challenge, a wall that hunger could not climb. The predators faltered. They had faced rhinos before. They had faced mothers willing to die to protect their young. But this was something alien. The gorilla stood on two legs, chest heaving, his dark shape rising above the calf like a storm cloud. His eyes blazed not with hunger, but with fury. He was not prey. He was not rival. He was something else entirely, an outsider who had chosen to stand between death and innocence. The lioness who had pinned the calf hesitated, her tail twitching with frustration. The taste of victory was so close, she could almost feel blood on her tongue. Yet the gorilla's scream broke her rhythm, and the sight of his massive arms raised high filled her with a rare sensation, doubt. She took a step back, her paws pressing into the dust. The calf scrambled weakly to its feet, wobbling, sides streaked with scratches. He pressed against his mother's chest, his small frame trembling. The mother rhino bent her horn low, snorting, her whole body quivering with rage and relief. She had her calf back, but the danger had not passed. The lions still lingered, pacing, eyes burning gold through the curtain of dust. The silverback planted his fists into the earth and leaned forward, knuckles digging trenches in the soil. His shoulders rippled with raw power, his breath pumping like a forge. Sweat matted the hair along his scarred face, catching the sunlight, making him look carved from iron. With every breath he drew, the space between him and the lions seemed to thicken. A barrier built of will alone, the standoff stretched into silence. The savannah held its breath. Finally, one lioness growled, a low sound of frustration, and turned her head. She slunk into the tall grass, her tail flicking in anger. The others followed, one by one, until only their eyes glimmered in the shadows, fading like embers dying in the wind. The hunt was over, defeated not by tooth or horn, but by something the lions could not understand: protection from outside their circle of nature's law. Dust drifted like smoke in the aftermath. The cries of the calf softened, though they still came in broken gasps. His mother pressed her face close to him, breathing warm air over his fragile body, calming him with touch and sound. Her chest rose and fell, each breath slower than the last, as if she was reminding herself that he was alive. That a few paces away, the gorilla still stood. He did not move forward. He did not seek closeness or recognition. He remained at a distance, a shadow of protection, his gaze locked on the horizon where the lions had vanished. His troop waited at the forest's edge, small dark figures watching silently, their eyes wide with unease. But the silverback did not return to them yet. His role was not finished. For a long moment, the three stood together, mother, calf, and gorilla, bound not by blood, not even by kind, but by the silent truth of survival. No words, no gestures, only breath and stillness. Then, as if guided by some quiet decision, the gorilla stepped back. His broad shoulders shifted, the tension draining from his arms. He turned slowly, his massive frame moving with the weight of calm after storm. Without a sound, he walked back toward the trees. The calf watched, his small ears twitching, his wide eyes following the silverback until he was almost gone. The mother rhino lowered her head, brushing her calf once more, then raised her gaze toward the retreating guardian. For an instant, her eyes seemed to hold his, as if some recognition passed between them. A brief thank you carried not by words, but by the steady silence of the wild. The gorilla slipped into the shade, his black form swallowed by leaves and shadow. One by one, his troop followed, their shapes blending into the undergrowth until only the whisper of rustling branches remained. And then, nothing. The forest edge was still. The savannah exhaled. Birdsong returned slowly, timid at first, then swelling into the air like courage finding its way back. A breeze brushed through the tall grass, carrying with it the smell of dust and sweat, of fear and life. The sun climbed higher, its golden light washing over the mother rhino and her calf, painting them in warmth as if to remind them they had survived. The calf leaned against his mother, small body pressed close to the fortress of her side. His squeaks faded, replaced by soft breaths, each one steadier than the last. The mother lowered herself slightly, wrapping her massive form protectively around him, as if she could shield him not just from lions, but from the memory of their claws. From above, the scene stretched wide, the open plain glowing gold, the waterhole glimmering like glass, the acacia trees holding silent watch, and at its center, a fragile bond, life clinging on, protected by both blood and by the unexpected courage of a stranger. The lions would return another day. Hunger never rests, and the wild has no memory of favors. But this moment, this single morning, carried something rare. A calf that should have been swallowed by death now stood, breathing. Because an enemy of no one had chosen to rise. The savannah is a place of harsh rules, of endless battles where the weak are claimed and the strong survive. Yet sometimes, in the turning of grass, in the beating of a chest, in the shadow of a horn, those rules bend. The baby lay still. The mother stood over him, and far in the forest, unseen but remembered, the silverback's shadow lingered. Danger and kindness walk side by side here. And in the heart of the wild, survival is not always written in hunger. It can also be written in courage.